Welcome to lesson 7. We've talked about hashtags a little bit already, and I want you to remind you that hashtags are simply the keywords or terms that you see on social media that are preceded by the pound sign. They are search terms. So hashtags are simply search tools that lead your potential ideal collectors to your content. They're like breadcrumbs that you throw out on social media for your ideal collectors who are following those terms to come to find your content. So you can use hashtags to maximize your reach on those posts that you're making on social media. We only use them on social media, not on your website. So that's a really important point to remember. The other point to remember that I want to drown in there again is that it's very important that the ones that you use are relevant to your ideal collectors, which means they need to connect in some way to those 5 content categories that we've talked about. Super, super important. When they're hyper targeted like that, it means that they are a laser beam going out there onto the World Wide Web, drawing in. You remember that tractor beam in Star Trek? They're drawing in your ideal collectors, pulling them towards you. So Instagram allows up to 30 hashtags. I want you to use them all, but don't go over the limit. I actually tend to use no more than about 29. I'm a little paranoid about hitting the 30. If you go to 31, things happen. Instagram dings you and the hashtags don't work. So that's why I say, don't go over the limit. I like to stop at 29 just to make sure I haven't counted wrong somewhere, because I'm a little paranoid about that after I have made that error once or twice. So use all those hashtags though. It's a myth out there that Instagram doesn't want you to take advantage of all those hashtags. They wouldn't give them to you if they didn't want you to use them. Facebook now allows them and rewards them as well. So that's why I've said you can post exactly the same thing on both Instagram and on Facebook. You'll see some people post the hashtags in the first comment, and you'll see some people include them in the caption itself. It's really an aesthetic decision and choice that's very personal. I like to include the more general hashtags in the first comment and include specific ones that are really, really, really relevant just to that caption within the caption itself. But you can go either way. It's up to you. But use all of those hashtags. Then I have a formula that I use to create my basic hashtags. And I want to go over those with you. First of all, I want you to think about using some general art hashtags. And the way that you're going to find these art hashtags is by going back to the role models in your niche. Look for the general hashtags around the art world online that they're using, and then investigate their size to determine if they'll work for you. And here's how you do that. So let me switch over here to my Instagram account, and I'm going to show you how to search for those. So pretend that I have gone, or I'm going to go over here. I'll go to Tony O'Connor's site. And I'm going to look at the general hashtags that Tony uses on his. Very different style, but I can look and see that Insta artist is one that I might want to use. Artist of Instagram is another. So that's how you begin to find your big general hashtags. Look at your role models. Next, you can do some searching on Instagram. If I type in artist, Instagram is going to make suggestions. These are the same ones that you'll use on Facebook as well. It's just easier to do this search on Instagram because they've been used longer. And you'll see the artist on Instagram is huge. It's got 70 million posts. That's what I mean by large, medium, and small. Anything over about 500,000 is large. So when it's got 70 million, it's huge. The chances of your being spotted in there become very small when it's a really huge number of posts like that. They're still worth using because it begins to put you into a context. I like using the artists of Instagram one. It's a little smaller than the artist on Instagram. You're a little bit more likely to be found. But you can scroll down and see the other large tags, general ones that are in use here. You can also see some smaller ones popping up. Savannah Artist is a small one. It's only got 2,700 posts that are in that. And that means that you're going to have a whole lot more likelihood of being found. I wouldn't use that as a general one. I would use one of these like artists on Instagram, artists of Instagram, artists support artists. Artists is one that you can use. Only use 2 or 3 of those. I would not just use the straight artist one, not with 229 million. That's just too large. But only use 2 or 3 of these. Find them by looking at your role models and seeing which large general ones they're using. Then, after you have found your large general ones from your role models, you can also look for ones that are more medium specific, like things that have to do with oil painting, if you're painting in oils, acrylics, watercolor, palette knife painting, plein air painting, things that have to do with medium or techniques. You're beginning to narrow down those search terms. And so when you look at some of them, for example, that I use on a regular basis, you'll see, I believe I have it in the first, I may have forgotten tags on that one. I do occasionally forget, because I don't see it in the comments and it doesn't show things in order. There we go. So some of the ones that I use that are medium specific are plein air, paint plein air painting, Southern art, Southern artist, Southern landscape, begins to get towards subject. Look at what other artists are using that have to do with just the medium. I've got oil painting in there, oil paint. Then you want to keep those at the medium size. And medium size means that they are roughly between about 50,000, 40,000. You can go down to 30, but about 30,000 and 300,000. Don't go larger than that. That's the general size that you want the bulk of your hashtags to be. So mainly medium size. So pick 5 art, medium, or technique hashtags. Look at artists that are role models that are working in the same medium and techniques that you use and see what they're using. Type it into the search bar in Instagram and look for ones that are a good medium size. Then also include 5 art subject hashtags. Again, keep the medium size. And you can see that I have several that have to do with the subject matter, general subject matter, landscape painting, Southern landscape painting, daily painting, Southern art. So try to find about 5 of those. And again, keep them in the medium range. Then look for 5 location tags. And in location tags, you can get some small ones in there too. But try to find 5 that are small or medium size hashtags. And you'll see that I have some around, let's see if I actually included space. Yes, Minervaville and Congaree are places that are locations that I've included in this set of hashtags. Congaree Swamp is another location. Then I've also included content category hashtags, things that apply to the specific post, things like Congaree National Park. And I could have included a whole nother range of them in there as well. But I want you to include 10 content category hashtags. These you're going to find from looking at your influencer accounts. These you're going to find from your other 4, not just your art, but your other 4 categories for your content. Look at the influencer accounts and see what they're using. Go back over here for just a second. So you look at your role models for the ones to do with your general art ones, your art medium and technique ones, and then you're going to select subject matter ones that you get from your role models. And then you're going to pull location ones, location being either the place that you live, the places that you paint, or locations that are specific to that particular painting or post that you're making. From your influencers, you're going to get your content category tags. Those are going to be more specific to the particular post that you're making. They're not going to be the same all the time. They might have 1 or 2 that'll carry over to all posts, but they're going to be more individual. And so you're going to need to pull some of those from your social listening. So if you've done your social listening with your influencers, you've noticed when you've been on their profiles, which kind of hashtags they use that are specific to the category that you're talking about. I want you to record around 5 hashtags for each of those content categories that you've got, and record those in your workbook so that you have them going forward as you create your hashtag lists. Now I'm going to show you a little tweak I use, a trick that makes it easy to put the right set of hashtags onto the correct blog post. So I use an app on the Mac called Notes, and that app syncs across my computer, my laptop, and my phone and my iPad, so that I can add them on my computer where it's easy to do the research. And then they're available to my phone or my iPad if I'm using my mobile device to make my post. I can also access them easily to add them into Creator Studio. So I create them in Notes and I create them in groups so that they're easy to copy and paste. So let me show you what they look like in Notes. And there are similar apps that are available on PC and on Android. I highly recommend something that syncs across those different devices so it's available to you wherever it is that you're working. So in my Notes app, I have the Instagram hashtags, and I have them in groups according to the places that the different locations that I work, and according to the different content categories that I use. And when I want to make a post that has all those hashtags in there, and I want to give some space, I've included some periods to hold the space. I just go in there and highlight that whole pack of hashtags, copy them, go to Instagram and paste. And it makes it so much easier than typing hashtags out each time. That's tedious. Don't do that. Use your workbook to create groups of hashtags within the Notes app if you're on a Mac, or within a similar app on your PC if you're on a PC or an Android. That makes it incredibly easy to take advantage of those hashtags so that you can broaden your reach. and really begin to explode your growth on social media. So that is my system for finding hashtags and the formula that I use to make sure that I am maximizing the reach on my posts as I make them on social media. And remember, now you can use hashtags on both Instagram and Facebook. Hope that's helpful. And feel free to share hashtags that you find that you think are great ones over in the Facebook group so that others can use them as well. Happy painting, everyone.